guys to CompTIA Security Plus Practice Exam series, where we are covering different practice exams and we will see how we can perform and what type of question we are going to face in the real exam. My name is Amir Hamza and you are watching MRK Security. So without wasting time, let's get started. So today I'm going to perform a practice exam number 2, which is going to be 90 question with 90 minutes and 90% is the passing rate. Please remember this exam is from the DION So if you go with them, you can also get the voucher as well. So let's get started. So first question, DION Training wants to implement technology within their corporate network to mitigate the risk that a zero-day virus might infect their workstation. Which of the following should be implemented first? So remember, according like the 0-day is the virus which is which is the totally unknown. No IDS, no IPS, no other anti virus can detect this virus. So what you need to do, you always go with the application whitelisting. Only allow those applications to run which are needed on the system or on the service or on the workstation. So application whitelisting. A cybersecurity analyst has deployed a custom DLP signature to alert on any files that contain numbers in the format of social security number, like this one. Which of the following concept with data loss prevention is being utilized? So an analyst is actually adding its own custom signature to get the alerts. So on what type of mismatches he is going to get the alert? So whenever the same signature Okay, a cybersecurity analyst has deployed a custom DLP signature to alert on any files that contain number in the format of special security number XXX. Which of the following concept with the DLP being utilized? So, analyst added its own custom type to get the alert. So, whenever the same type will be uh, occurred or will be found, only then the alert will be generated. So the exact data match. During a security audit, you discovered that the customer service employees have been sending unencrypted confidential information to their personal email accounts via email. What technology could you employ to detect these occurrences in the future and send an automated alert to the security team? Okay, here they are sending the confidential information unencrypted on their personal emails, so there will be a chance of data loss. So the data loss, no SSL, no unified threat management, and also not mobile device management, only DLP, data loss prevention. Joseph would like to prevent host to known malware distribution domains. Okay, what type of solution should be used without deploying endpoint protection software or an IPS? So in this case, each Joseph is actually preventing host from connecting malware distributed domains. So it's regarding the domains. So only the DNS like domain naming system is one of the option given here, and the black holing means that those domains will not gonna be work, like it's just like blacklisted. What regulation protects the privacy of student educational record? So there is only the one, which is the family educational and the authority. DION Training has applied new group policy to all student accounts that will lock out any account in which the student enter their password incorrectly 3 times in a row. Once the account is logged out, the students must wait 15 minutes before they can attempt to log in again. What type of attack is this mitigation strategy trying? So we can clearly see that there are limit to three. After that, they need to wait for 15 minutes and then they can try again. So they are actually preventing the brute force attack. So the brute force attack. Will is using a device to copy signals from cabling to a monitor port. He is actually using a device to copy signal from cabling to monitor port. The device does not interfere with the network traffic. Okay, it's mean that no physical connection. So it has lower visibility and would not prevent traffic from flowing if power of the device is lost. Okay, what type of tap is Will using? So it's not actually directly connected with the system, so it's obviously the passive one. Which of the following describe the overall occurrence of a biometric authentication system? So what best can tell us the accuracy of the biometric system? Only the error rate. Because fall acceptance rate, fall rejection rate, all are the different things. Only the cross error, you can only check regarding the error, how much error the biometric authentication system is making, only based on that. You are attending a cybersecurity conference and just watch a security researcher demonstrating the exploitation of a web interface on SCADA/ICS component. This caused the device to malfunction and be destroyed. You recognize that the same component is used throughout your company manufacturing plant. Which of the following mitigation strategies would provide you with the most immediate protection against this immigrant threat? Okay, remember whenever you face such condition, you need to remember that if you are using such type of service, keep it running and simultaneously patch it. If it's not the needed feature, then always go and try to remove that feature or disconnect it or the isolate it from the other network or this network to the other network. Logically or physically isolate SCADA component from the enterprise. Could be replace the affected SCADA component with more secure models. No, replacing is not an issue or not a mitigation. Demand the manufacturer of the component release a patch. Could be evaluate if the web interface must remain open for the system to function. If it is not needed, block the web interface. That's the correct answer. A competitor recently bought DION Training ITL 4 Foundation Training course, transcribed the video caption into a document, re-recorded the course exactly word for word as an audiobook, then published this newly recorded audiobook for sale in Audible. How would you classify this situation as a risk to DION training? Which of the following will be chosen? It's actually they are using the he actually bought the course and using this course with his name on the audible. So it's actually identity property theft, individual property theft or IP theft. It's actually uh, identity property theft or individual property theft, something like that. You are trying to select the best device to install to detect an outside attacker trying to reach into your internal network. The device should log the event, but it should not take any action to stop it. Logging is permitted, but the any action is not permitted. Which of the following device would be the best? Select the one. IDS, obviously, intrusion detection system, because it only detects the intrusions but not prevent it. Or the proxy server will block it, authentication server authenticates it, IPS blocks it, IDS doesn't but log it. You are working for a government contractor who requires all users to use PIV device when sending digitally signed and encrypted emails. Which of the following physical security measure is being implemented? Okay, you can sign the email with digitally signed. You can only sign the emails to encrypt them with a physical device with the smart card only, because smart card contains always in the form of RFID, uh, the pin code. You are analyzing the same for your company e-commerce server when you notice the following URL in the logs of your SIEM. Okay, the HTTP accessing the website, then adding into the cart, then the variable item ID is equal to 5, per item price this one, quantity will be this one. It seems like SQL, but it is not SQL. It is actually using the variable name in the special format of XML. So it should be XML injection. What tool can be used to scan a network to perform vulnerability checks and compliance auditing? Okay, we are checking the vulnerability and also compliance auditing. We are also auditing. So Nmap could be, because Nmap scan the vulnerability and the services, whereas Nessus scan the vulnerability and audit them. Your company has just finished replacing all of its computer with brand new workstation. Colin, one of your co-worker, has asked the company owner if she can have the old computer that are about to be thrown away. Colin would like to refurbish the old computer by reinstalling a new operating system and donate them to a local community center for disadvantaged children in the neighborhood. The owner thinks this is a great idea but is concerned that the private and sensitive corporate data on the old computer hard drive might be placed at risk posture. Okay, here is a risk of the confidential data to get leaked. You have been asked to choose the best solution to sanitize or destroy the data while ensuring the computers will still be usable to the community center. Okay, we need to sanitize or destroy the data, but in a way that the computer should be usable for the center. What type of data destruction or sanitization method you will recommend? Of course, wiping only. Destroy, destroying will only be like destroying the whole device. Degassing is the actually demagnetizing the device. Shredding is again breaking up into pieces, and wiping only will be the left one, and wiping is the correct one. Will be the correct one. Which of the following would not be useful in defending against zero-day tag? Because zero-day is unknown, and only the patching is the one which is only for the known vulnerabilities. So on the 0-day, the patching will not be a useful one. A supplier needs to connect several laptops to an organization network as part of their service agreement. These laptops will be operated and maintained by the supplier. Victor, a cybersecurity analyst for the organization, is concerned that these laptops could contain some vulnerabilities that could weaken the network security posture. Okay, what can Victor do to mitigate the risk to other devices on the network without having direct administrative access to a supplier? He should use a bit front facing system which should be known as jump box. So jump box, implement a jump box. Jump box is a system which is used in the your DMZ in front to connect outer networks to, which allows the outer devices to connect with your internal DMZ systems, but through the server which is facing the DMZ on edge. An ethical hacker has been hired to conduct a physical penetration test of a company. During the first day of the test, the ethical hacker dresses up like a plumber and waits in the building main lobby until an employee goes through the main turnstile. As soon as the employee enters his access number and proceed to go through the turnstile, the ethical hacker follows them through the access gate. What type of attack did the ethical hacker utilize to access in the restricted area of the building? So it is, so in this case the attacker is actually following the victim, and you get the chance to and got the chance to pass the security barriers by following the first person. So it should be tailgating. Which of the following type of data breaches would require that the US Department of Health and Human Services and the media to be notified if more than 500 individuals are affected by the data breach. Only the health information, protected health information, yes. Personally identifiable information, no. Protected health information. Whenever the health information breach has been occurred, it's the responsibility of the government or the firm CEO to notify the public or the consumers. Your organization has been receiving many phishing emails recently, and you are trying to determine why they are effective in getting your users to click on their links. The last email consists of what looks like an advertisement that is offering an exclusive early access opportunity to buy a new iPhone at a discounted price. Still, there are only 5 phones available at this price. What type of social engineering principle is being exploited? Okay, in this case, there is an advertisement inside the email link which is offering exclusive early access. So there is a time limit opportunity to buy a new iPhone, and the quantity is only 5. So only the 5 early person can buy those phones. So it's actually not familiarity, scarcity, not trust, not intimidation, only scarcity, because it's giving us the risk that you will lose the 5 phones or the phone getting chance if you wait for other like if you wait or if you get late. So scarcity, because it's actually giving you the risk that you will lose the 5 phones buying chance. An attacker recently compromised an e-commerce website for a clothing store. Which of the following method did the attacker use to harvest an account cached credentials when the user logged into SOS single sign-on system? Only could be done using the pass the hash. But because the hashes are stored on the system, and if you pass the hash value from the credentials, you can actually get the access to the system. DION Training has implemented a new mandatory vacation policy. New mandatory vacation policy has been made to help identify any malicious insider or employee. Which of the following control types would this policy be categorized? Remember, there are only 3 type of categories, control categories. It's managerial, operational, and technical. Technical is physical one, operational is regarding your employees, whereas the first one, managerial, is regarding your policy, procedures, and guidelines. So it's actually regarding the policy, so it should be managerial. Jennifer decided that the licensing cost for a piece of video software was too expensive. Instead, she decided to download a keygen program to generate her own license key and install a pirated version of the editing software. After she runs the keygen, a license key is created, but her system performance becomes very sluggish and her anti-malware suite begins to display numerous alerts. Which type of malware might her computer infected? So, what happened? She actually installed the software, then she get the key, she added the key, cracked the system, and then when she cracked it, the system her system actually performance become very sluggish and getting the numerous alerts. So it should be like Trojan. So when you there will be a malicious application of the program which actually come with the real software, she cracked it, and now the uh, bad things are happening. Which role validates the user identity when using SAML for authentication? So whenever you're using the SAML, it should be IDP, uh, identity provision. Maybe. What are the other options? RP is a different one. SP is the different one. User agent is one. Identity provider. Only the identity provider is the right answer for the SAML authentication. Hopefully, you are configuring the ACL access control list for a network perimeter firewall. You have just finished adding all the proper allow and deny rules. What should you place at the end of your ACR? Okay, remember whenever you are adding any type of allow or deny rules, always it's a good practice to add implicit deny statement. So what else coming to your system or within your network should be denied by default. DION training requires that the staff simulate their response to a potential data breach. So a simulation has been happening regarding a potential data breach. During this simulation, the staff gathers in an conference room and discuss each action. So they did simulation, gather in a conference room, discuss each action they would take as a part of their response. This information is then analyzed to ensure the company data breach response playbook is up to date and would work properly when needed. Which of the following best describe the staff did? So they are performing a simulation in which they they actually presented their actions. So in the conference, they are actually exercising the event. So it should be a tabletop exercise. Using this image, select the security feature that should use a workstation or a laptop. Okay, workstation or a laptop. So there are firstly two mains and two sub mains categories. Whenever you are your workstation, when you're securing your workstation or laptop, you always perform a remote wipe host based firewall, implement host based firewall, and add network sniffer, then add cable lock and also cat stp, which will secure you from the EMI, electromagnetic intrusion and integration, and cable lock. Cat 5 location tracking. Location tracking is not necessary because you workstation could not be migrated from one place to a second place physically. So that not that this can remote wipe will remove all your data, and you will lose all of your access, which is not a good approach. So host based firewall, network sniffer, cable lock, and the cat 5 stp. A web developer wants to protect their new web application from a man in the middle attack. Which of the following control would best prevent an attacker from stealing tokens stored in the cookies? So it's regarding the stealing tokens stored in the cookies. It should be like the you should use any attribute of on the cookie, setting up the secure attribute. Only the securing the attribute will provide the encryption, and your cookie will be safe. Hashing is also there, but hashing is only used for the to check the integrity. It's not modified, whereas secure attribute will keep you secure, confidential. Which of the following proprietary tool is used to create forensic disk image? So you need to create a forensic disk image. If is the word the forensics, then it should be different. Whereas it if it's using only the disk images, then it should be like DD. Tool DD is used, but it's using the forensics disk images. The FTK imager is the tool which is used to image the drives for the forensic purposes. Gemmi's organization is attempting to budget for the next fiscal year. Gemmi has calculated that the asset value of a database server is dollar this one lakh 20,000 based on her analysis. She believes that the data breach is a breach to the server will occur every 4 years, once every 4 years, and has a risk factor of 30%. What is the annual loss expectancy for the data breach within Gemmi's organization? So you will actually need to multiply this total amount with the risk factor, so you will get the loss That's what you are getting the loss. Then you will divide that loss with the 4 years, and you will get the how many loss in per loss losing per year. So let's open the calculator. So 12,000 into 0.30% divided by 4, it should be 9,000. So 9,000. You need to determine the best way to test operating system patches in a lab environment. Before deploying them to your automated patch management system, unfortunately, your network has several different operating systems in use, but you only have one machine available to test the patches on. What is the best environment to utilize the patches before deployment? You always go for the virtualization. Use virtualization, make a separate VM machine, deploy it there, and test it on this isolated environment. So virtualization will be the best answer. A vulnerability scanner has reported that the vulnerability exists in the system. Upon the report, the analyst determined that the reported vulnerability does not exist on the system. What is the proper term for this situation? So vulnerability scan the vulnerability. So so it's a positive. It's a reminder that vulnerability does not exist, which is false. So it's a false positive. During an assessment of the POS terminal that accept credit cards, a cybersecurity analyst noticed a recent Windows operating system vulnerability exists on every terminal. Since these systems are all embedded and require a manufacturer update, the analyst cannot install Microsoft's regular patch. Which of the following option would be the best to ensure the system remain protected and compliant with the rules outlined by the PCI DSS? It's a standard which is actually standard on the credit card. So what will be the best answer? Replace the Windows POS terminal. Now replacing will actually give you DOS, denial of service. Build a custom OS image that includes patch. This one. Remove the POS terminal from the network until vendor release patch. Again DOS attack. Identify, implement, and document compensating controls will be the best answer. Okay, again in this image, there is an attacker sending a ping to a network, internet, but with the source IP of the server. So all the replies will be to the server side. So this attack is mainly known as Smurf. You are reviewing a rule within your organization IDS. You see the following output: alert TCP, external net, HTTP ports, home net, any. Message this, and this. So based on this rule, which of the following malicious packets would be IDS alert on? And malicious inbound TCP packet? Yes, yes, because it's a malicious inbound coming from the external side, also using the TCP. So inbound TCP. What are the other answer? Output? No, it's not output. It's not going. It's actually coming towards the system. Any malicious inbound packets is also the right answer, but the it's more accurate the TCP packet. A computer was recently infected with a piece of malware without any user intervention. The malware is now spreading throughout the corporate network and infecting other computers. So there's a malware spreading and infecting the system, which should be worm. Your company is required to remain compliant with the PCI DSS standard due to the type of information by your system. If there was a breach of this system, which type of disclosure would you be required to provide during the incident? Always the credit card information. So notification to your credit card. Visa and MasterCard, no, because these are only the entities. There are other entities as well, also American Bank, Union Pay, and different. So not these ones, but the credit card processor, credit card information. Julie was just hired to conduct a security assessment of DION training security policies. During her assessment, she noticed that the many users were sharing group accounts to conduct their work roles. Julie recommended that the group accounts be eliminated and instead have an account created for each user. What improvement will this recommended action provide for the company? So it is actually isolating, it's actually dividing the big group into chunks, so it will actually help analyzing team to analyze each individual employee separately. So more efficient in baseline management? No. Increase password security? No. Increase individual accountability is the correct answer. During a penetration test, you find a hash value related to a malware associated with the APT, advanced persistent threat. What best describe what you have found? You always found an indicator of compromise because it's related malware hash value related to malware associated with the APT. It's an indicator of compromise. What type of threat actor is highly funded and often backed by nation state? Activists are doing for their different firms but not on the big level, whereas advanced persistent threat are the government hired or the backed hackers. Which type of method is most likely to be used by a malicious employee or insider trying to obtain another user's password? Shoulder surfing is the right answer. Which of the following attack would most likely be used to create an inadvertent disclosure of information from an organization database? Inadvertent disclosure means that without permission using the attack. So there are only one injection listed, which is the, so it should be SQL injection. Process scripting is actually to run your type of request. Denial of service will again denying the services, so no services used. Buffer overflow is to exploit it, whereas SQL injection is to get the data out of the database. What control provides what control provides the best protection against both SQL and cross-site scripting attacks? Validation. So input validation. You need to validate the inputting values. Which of the following ports should you block at the firewall if you want to prevent a remote login to a server from occurring? So 443 is HTTPS, 110 is POP3, 25 is SMTP, 23 is Telnet. So tunnel only create a tunnel to communicate, but it's unsecure. A computer is infected with malware that has infected the Windows kernel to hide. Which type of malware most likely infected this computer? So the only malware that affect the kernel is Rootkit. You have been asked to develop a solution for one of your customers. The customer is a software development company and they need to be able to test a wide variety of operating system to test the software application their company is developing internally. The company does not want to buy a bunch of computers to install all these operating system for testing. Which of the following solution would best meet the company's requirement? So they don't want to buy that bunch of system to test their application, so always go for the one system, the VMs, and try on those uh, virtual systems. So purchase one computer, install an operating system on it, create an image of the system, then reformat it. No, that's not the case. Again, reformatting and will be issue. Purchase multiple inexpensive. They don't want to purchase multiple. Purchase a high-end and computer that has a lot of CPU RAM, install hypervisor and configure virtual machine for each operation. Yes, that's the correct answer. So buy one system, install hypervisor, install different virtual machines, and test on all application on that system. Which command on Mac OS and Linux system is used to change the permission of a file? So whenever you are changing the permission, the command is used for is change mode. Change owner is used to change the owner of the file, whereas change mode is used to change the permissions. Which of the following must be combined with the threat to create a risk? So whenever they to create a risk, you need to connect a threat with a vulnerability to create it a risk. Which of the following term is used to describe the period of time following a disaster that an individual IT system may remain offline? So it should be a part of your objective. So this will be like the only the mean time or only the time you can afford is always going to be a record of recovery time objective or a part of recovery time objective, not a mean time to repair. It's a total time to repair the system. Mean time before repair, different thing. And RPO recovery point objective is also a different thing. RTO actually create information regarding the time you can be offline. DION Training allows its visiting business partner from CompTIA to use an available Ethernet port in their conference room to establish a VPN connection back to the CompTIA internal network. The CompTIA employees should obtain internet access from the Ethernet port in the conference room, but nowhere else in the building. Additionally, if the DION training employees uses the same Ethernet port in the conference room, they should access the secure internal network. Which of the following? So indirectly, it is trying to say that the you need to only allow specific people to access the this connection or this port. So how you will going to secure it? It's always going to be secure using the implementing NAC, network access control, because only that checks for the accessing. What is the lowest layer, bottom layer of the bare metal virtualization? So the bare is always the physical hardware. On the physical hardware, we install the operating system, uh, and in the bare metal, we install the on the physical hardware we install the hypervisor, and on the data hypervisor, we install the operating systems. Okay, a cybersecurity analyst is attempting to classify network traffic within an organization. The analyst runs the tcpdump command and receives the following output: TCP and Ethernet. This is IP. This one with the port. This one to this one with SSH. Okay, here we can clearly see that the IP ending with dot 1 to 1 using the port 52497 to get access to this IP SSH. So 10 to 1, this one or this one. This one is a client that accessing SSH server over a port 52497. Not the port listed here, but yes, this is the right answer. You have been asked to determine if DION Training's web server is vulnerable to a recently discovered attack of an older version. Okay, whenever you need to check the older version or compare the version, just like which technique should be used to determine the current version, you always need to go for the banner grabbing. Banner grabbing is the technique used to compare the version or to check the version. Which of the following policy should contain the requirement for removing a user access when an employee is terminated? So whenever you need to eliminate the employee or terminating it, you need to go into your account management policy and remove it from there, him or her. What containment technique is the strongest possible response to an incident? Okay, containment technique. Remember this word. Containment is when the attack has been happened and you are actually stopping that error from the happening. So it's always the isolate the attacker. No, isolating the affected system. So if the attack is has been taken place, isolate the victim system. When you are managing a risk, what is considered an acceptable option? Only the mitigation is the acceptable option when you are managing the risk. Denying the risk is like we don't care. Reject means that we are rejecting it and we will see what will happen. Initiate it like you are going and initiating the risk. Mitigate is okay, you accept it and you are now working on to recover it or secure it. DION training offices utilize an open concept floor plan. They are concerned that the visitor might attempt to steal an external hard drive and carry it out of the building. To mitigate this risk, the security department has recommended installing security cameras clearly visible to both employees and visitor. What type of security control do these cameras represent? Okay, they are installing cameras only for the uh, clearly visible for to both employees and visitor, to only to actually afraid you can say the visitor or the employees. That technique is mainly known as deterrent, where you are not actually forcing anyone to do not to do this, but you are only highlighting that there will be consequences if you do those things. Which of the following access control methods provide the most and explicit type of access control over a resource? Only if you the ABAC, access attribute based access control. Which cloud computing concept is best described as focusing on replacing the hardware and software required when creating a testing new application and program from a customer environment with cloud based? So in this case, they are replacing their hardware and software to a cloud. So only the system that provide you this thing are actually platform as a service. They are actually giving you the uh, hardware, and you only need to use your application. You are conducting threat hunting on your organization network. Every network uses the same configuration baseline and contain 500 GB HDD, 4 GB of RAM, and the Windows 10 Enterprise operating system. You know from the previous experience that the most workstation only use 40 GB of space hard drives. Since most users have their files on the system instead of the local workstation. Okay, you discover one workstation that has over 250 GB of data stored on it. Which of the following is likely hypothesis of the what is happening? Okay, there is a one system with 250 GB of data, which is extraordinary data, whereas the normal system only maximum utilize 40 GB. So there are chances that the different data is actually uh, getting there together. So the host might use staging area for data exfiltration. Could be you should conduct volume based, and could be the host might use a command and control node. No, command and control will not going to uh, increase that much space. The host might be offline conducting backup locally. Could be, but conducting backup will not actually getting this much bigger this much. The host might be the victim remote, so the answer should be like data exfiltration. So this could be the like the server, the system which is using for the point where the garbage data or the data kept. DION training utilize a wired network throughout the building to provide network connectivity. Jason is concerned that the visitor might plug their laptop into a Cat 5e wall jack in the lobby and access a corporate network. What technology should be utilized to prevent user from gaining access to a network? Again, you need to get the access to a network. Always use NAS, network access control. Your email client has been acting strangely. Every time you open an email with an image embedded within it, the image is not displayed on your screen. Which of the following is most likely the cause? Okay, this could be the cause the image would be crashed first, or there is something preventing you from the opening. Let's check the answer. Incorrect setting in your email proxy server could be. Incorrect setting in your web browser, no. Incorrect email setting in antivirus, no. Incorrect setting in your email client, maybe. Insecure setting in the host page firewall, most probably the proxy server, because it is coming from the proxy server, so it will not be the right answer. It could be insecure security setting in the email client, because now email is at your end and there is a problem occurring at your end. An attacker has issued the following command: nc netcat listen port 8080, netcat send traffic to this IP on the port this one. So netcat will listen on port 8080, okay, and then output anything received to a local interface. This one, yes, correct. Netcat will listen on the port, it wrong. Network will listen on the port 8080 and output anything received on the remote connection on the port 443. Yes, 443 is the additional to this one, and this is the right answer. You work as a cybersecurity analyst at a software development firm. The software developers have begun implementing commercial and open source libraries. They are now implementing open source libraries into their code base to minimize the time it takes to develop and release the new application. Which of the following should be your biggest concern? Okay, whenever you are installing open source, you don't need about the uh, modifier or like the developer, and you also not aware of the threat it may contain. So security flaws present in the library will be present development. Any security flaws present in the library will also be present in the developed application. Perfect, yes. Whether or not libraries being used in the project are most, no. Open source libraries are inherently insecure because they don't want who wrote them. Could be there are no concern the using commercial open, no. So the most probably the correct answer would be this one. Which authentication mechanism does 800 usually rely on? 800 always use EAP, extensible authentication protocol. Which type of threat will which type of threat will patches not effectively combat? Always 0 day. When you purchase an exam voucher at DIONtraining.com, the system only collects your name, email, and credit card information. Which of the following privacy method being used by DION Training? Data minimization, tokenization, or anonymization? Anonymization. So anonymization is actually hiding the data. Data masking is adding different uh, different words. Tokenization is actually adding and replacing the data, where data minimization is collecting only the required data. So this is the right answer, will be the right answer. Failed to pass systems has just become the latest victim in large scale breach by an ATP, advanced persistent threat. If I'm not wrong, your initial investigation confirms a massive exfiltration of customer data has occurred. Which of the following action do you recommend to the CEO to fail to pass system handling? Whenever such a massive exfiltration has been happened, you need to inform to the big committee or the other committee regarding this breach. So purchase a cyber insurance policy. On that's funny, uh, because you are buying the privacy policy after the breach, not the good answer. Conduct notification to all affected customers within 72 hours and discovery of the breach. Yes. Conduct a hack back to the attacker. Waste of time. Provide a statement to the press that minimizes the scope of breach. Again, cover up. So this is the right answer. Will be the right answer. Which of the following biometric authentication factors uses infrared light stone shown into the eye of the to identify the pattern of blood vessel? So it's always retina scan. Retina scan is the scan which actually uses your blood vessels or the health of their blood vessels to for their biometric. Which of the following tool could be used to detect unexpected output from an application being managed or monitored? Unexpected output. Detect. There should be like manual analysis, no log analysis, behavior based analysis, signature based analysis, behavior based. You are actually detecting unexpected output, so it should be behavior, like how it's behaving and why the unexpected output is coming. You have been asked to help design a new architecture for DION training website. The current architecture involves a single server that hosts the website in its entirety. The company's newest course has been created a lot of interest on social media. The CIO is concerned that the single server will not be able to handle the increased demand that could result from the increased publicity. What technology should you implement in the new architecture to allow multiple web servers to serve up the courses to meet the expected? You always need to go for a balancing this type of scenario. If you need to, like, if you different region, you will your data will be go from this place or this server to other region from the second server, but the same data will be, so it's like you are balancing it, so it should be like load balancer. You have just completed identifying, analyzing, and conducting an incident. You have verified that the company used self encrypting drives as a part of its default configuration. As you begin the eradication and recovery phase, you must sanitize the storage devices data before storing data from a known backup. Which of the following method would be the best efficient to use to sanitize the affected hard drives? Whenever this such case happen where the self encryption drives are and you need to erase them or sanitize them, you always go for cryptographic erase where it actually encrypt the data and then remove it. So even if they left, it will be of no use. You are conducting an incident response and want to determine if any account based IOC exists on a compromised server. Which of the following would you not search for the server? Okay, you need to check account based IOC indicator of compromise. So system has been compromised. Now you are only need to check account based indicators. So off hours usage will be helpful, unauthorized sessions will be helpful, failed login will be helpful, malicious processes will not be helpful, because this will be happen and the malicious process will not be helpful, whereas failed login and other will be helpful. Failed to pass system has just been a victim of another embarrassing data breach. Their database administrator needed to work from home this weekend, so he downloaded the corporate database to his work laptop. On his way home, he left the laptop in an Uber, and a few days later, the data was posted on the internet. Which of the following mitigation would have with the greatest protection against data breach. Okay, in this case, you always need to encrypt your data. So, require VPN, require data at rest, encryption, require data masking, require all employees to send. No, you need to encrypt your data so no one able to use it even if it's stolen. Samantha works in the human resource department in an open floor plan office. She is concerned about the possibility of someone conducting shoulder surfing to read sensitive information from employee files while accessing them on her computer. Which of the following physical security measures should be implemented to protect against someone is actually doing shoulder surfing, but what could be used to hide information on the screen will be biometric log, hardware log, privacy screen. So what actually privacy screen do? It actually uh, black the screen after some angle, special angle, specific angle you can say. So if it's more than 120 angle, the person on your left or right will see a blank screen or black screen, whereas the person who is sitting in front of screen will actually uh, only the visible to that to him or her. What technique is most effective in determining whether or not increasing end user security training would benefit the organization during your technical assessment of their network? So if you want to check your end user security training will be helpful or not, you always go for social engineering to check them. Okay, tell the what ports these are. SCP is also using the same port used by the SSH, which is 22. POP3 is 110, SNMP is 161, and Telnet is 23. So 22, 22, 110, 161, and 23. Praveen is currently investigating activity from an attacker who compromised a host on the network. The individual appears to have used credentials belonging to a janitor. After breaching the system, the attacker entered some unrecognized commands with very long strings and then began using sudo. Sudo means trying to getting the root access command to carry out action. What type of attack this has been taken place? The attack should be privilege escalation if because it's using from user to root, trying to go to the root. DION Training has performed an assessment as a part of the disaster recovery planning. The assessment found that the organization can only tolerate a maximum of 30 minutes. So they are actually tolerating 30 minutes of downtime from their public facing web server. Which of the following metrics would present the time period? Only RTO, because that only uh, objective plan where we write that how much time we can be offline. RTO recovery objective. During your annual cybersecurity awareness training in your company, the instructor stated that employees should be careful about what information they post on social media. According to the instructor, if you post too much personal information on social media, such as your name, birthday, hometown, and other personal details, it is much easier for an attacker to conduct which type of attack to break your password. This is because most probably some users use their such type of information as their password. If you share such information, they can actually test your accounts based on your information, and that type of attack is mainly known as cognitive password attack. Which of the following vulnerability involves leverage access from a single virtual machine to other machine? Whenever you actually try to do a shift from one virtual machine to another virtual machine as an attacker, which is a critical uh, threat is known as VM escape. What type of malware is designed to be difficult for malware analysts to reverse engineering? There is a one malware type which is irreversible or which is very difficult to reverse and to identify, is actually known as armored virus. Which protocol is paired with auth2 to provide authentication of the user in federal identity management solution? Auth2 is actually used for single sign-on, which is used with OpenID Connect for single sign-on. What role does the red team perform during a tabletop exercise TTX? Whenever tabletop exercises are happening, the red team act as an adversary attackers or hackers. You have been asked to provide some training to DION training system administrators about the importance of the proper patching of the system before development deployment. To demonstrate the effect of deploying a new system, patching it first, you ask the system administrator to provide you with an image of a brand new server they plan to deploy. How should you deploy the image to demonstrate the vulnerability that are being exposed while maintaining the security of the corporate network? If this is the such case, you need to get the virtual machine, host the OS there, test the vulnerability there. So deploy an image on a brand new physical, no need to brand new. Deploy the system image within a virtual machine, ensure it is isolated sandbox environment, and then scan it for the vulnerabilities. Utilize the server with multiple virtual machines. No. Deploy a vulnerable images to virtual machine. No. No need to buy or do it on a specific physical server. Only make a virtual machine, host it, and test it. Your company has created a baseline image for all of its workstation using Windows 10. Unfortunately, the image included a copy of Solitaire, and the CIO has created a policy to prevent anyone from playing games. If this is the case, add the games into their blacklist. You have been asked to create a technical control to enforce this administrative control to publish it. So you all add all those games into their blacklist. A financial service company wants to donate some old hard drives from their servers to a local charity. This is the same scenario as we have read before. The hard drives used in a server are self-encrypted drives. Still, they are concerned about the possibility of reusable data being left on a drive. Which of the following secure disposals? Only the secure disposable is cryptographic arrays, as we discussed before. You just received a notification that your company email server has been blacklisted due to reports of spam originated from your domain. What information do you need to start investigating? So, okay, your email server is blacklisted because spam emails are generated from your domain. So, if this is the case, go check your email, check email header from where they are actually generating. What's the IP address it's coming from? What is the source? And install there. So the answer should be full email header. Check. You have just received a phishing email discussed to look like it came from support at DION training. So no misspelled. Asking you to send your username and password because your account has been logged in due to inactivity. Which of the following social engineering principle is being used in this email? So it is actually showing you the trust or the familiarity that you can trust us and send us because it's from the actual NOK domain. So last question. Tailor need to sanitize hard drives from some leased workstation before returning them to a supplier. At the end of the lease period, the workstation hard drive contains sensitive corporate data. Which of the which is the most appropriate choice to ensure that the data exposure does not occur during this process. So you need to completely purge it. Purge means that completely remove your data with special tools, then validate it, it is removed, and then document the sanitization, yes, it is removed. Clearing is just like deleting, whereas purge is deleting, so it is not recoverable. So let's test, end the test and check. Okay, that's good. We got the 100% in all of these scenarios.